Hi, everybody. I want to make a short uh, video. I don't really know how short it's going to be honest with you, because I don't have it scripted out, about how to use Logos for simple searching. Apparently, a number of you are still having difficulty with this. And so I'm going to show you some things, very simple, basic things that you could use at any point. But before I do that, I want to go out to the Logos site to make sure that you know where this stuff is. So here we are, logos.com support, and you want to click on desktop support, even if you're using a laptop. Mobile underneath this is things like phones and iPads. So click on desktop, and I will admit to you that the Logos website is not the clearest thing, for sure. Let's wait till it loads here. And you want to go to training. A lot of you probably just scrolled down here. What in the world's going on here? I don't blame you. Go to training, and here we have videos and tutorials, and you just click on training videos. Mobile app, you're not using a mobile app if you're doing this on a desktop or a laptop. Don't worry about it. These over here are sort of basic orientation. This is a little bit more detail and training. Just click on see all here. So it's just how to do things. There's only 7 of these. Search your Bible, other books, study a word. So, I mean, if you knew this short list of videos, if you watch them, that would take you a long way in being able to use the software. But having said that, let's go back here. I have Logos open, blank sheet here, blank screen. By the way, if you open yours and you get, let's see here. I never start with the home page. I never liked it. So you probably opened up and you get something like this. Okay, you've got this whole dashboard of all this stuff. It just pops up, and I find this whole thing confusing. So I just get rid of it. You just click it again. I like to start blank. Now, first step, open a Bible. This little icon here, if you hover over it, it says library. That's where your books are. The Bible is classified as a book in the software. So if you click on that, you just type in ESV, okay? And then you pick either the study Bible or, I mean, you can't go by what's on my screen because I have a huge library. But you're going to see ESV, English Standard Version. If you don't like the ESV, NIV. Okay, again, since I have so many of these NIV sources, right, I'd have to scroll down here to get the New International Version. There's several NIVs, by the way. This one's 1984, kind of the original. Maybe you use the NASB. There you go, New American Standard Bible. Whatever your Bible is, you should have in your library, or at least most of the major ones. Now, the thing to remember here is only the major translations, and it's been probably 5 years since I worked on any interlinears, so I'm giving you information that I know. Only the major translations, ESV, NIV, King James, New King James, NASB, NRSV, I think that's 6. I don't know if there's a 7th one or not, but the major translations, those have been interlinearized. They have interlinear function. That's more specifically reverse interlinear function. Now, let's just stop there. I've used a term here, interlinear, and I've used another term, reverse interlinear. What is the difference? Well, I'm just going to type in interlinear here just to show you one. I can take a shortcut here, just use an abbreviation. Lexham Hebrew English Interlinear Bible. We're not going to do anything with this. I just want you to see it. Get that to open. An interlinear has the Hebrew. This is interlinear Hebrew English Bible. This is the Old Testament because the Old Testament is written in Hebrew. The New Testament is not, so this is just the Old Testament. So an interlinear, whether it's Greek, New Testament, or Hebrew Old Testament, has the original language across the top. and then underneath you get English. Okay, line by line by line by line. A reverse interlinear shows you English first. Okay, so let's just open an ESV here, and it should open. I can't remember the way I used it last. It's just opening to the regular English Bible. Now, this little icon right here is for interlinears. If you hover over things, it'll tell you what it is. So interlinears. And if I want an inline, okay, reverse interlinear, okay, I'm picking that. Let's just close the, I can't do that. Let's do that. And I want to get the, let's uncheck the reverse interlinear pane. That's that pane that appears at the bottom. So now these look the same. It's one line of English, another line of Hebrew. But you see the difference. An interlinear has the Hebrew at the top and then an English underneath. Reverse interlinear has the English on top and the Hebrew underneath. You say, whoop-de-doo, who cares? Well, I'm going to show you why that matters. Let's just get rid of all this stuff for now. Turn it off, and we just have our ESV. A reverse interlinear allows you, since it's showing you English first, it allows you to search on English words and do word studies, concord all of the occurrences, okay? It allows you to use English words to actually run searches on Greek and Hebrew. You don't have to know the alphabet even to do this. This is the magic of the tool. And I'm not going to tell you why it does it. You don't need to know why it works. It just works. Okay? It works because of the way it was created. So to run a search, you could do it several ways. The easiest way, let's go with Satan here. I am going to right-click on the word Satan. I get options that come up. Now you can see right here that it's starting to show Hebrew stuff. You weren't looking at Hebrew here. You're just looking at English. So we're going to click on the English, and all of a sudden it pulls up ways to search the original language, the Hebrew. Even if you can't read a letter of this, it doesn't matter. You don't need to know how. The only thing you need to know is to pick this second line, okay? Click on the second line, not the first one, but the second one. And you make sure you got the right line where it says lemma. If you hover over it, off to the left, okay? Let's go down to this one. My pop-up's not working. It'll change to root. So sometimes in some versions of the software, it'll pop up the little word if you hover over it. Okay, but we're not going to worry about that because it's not doing it like I hoped it would. But all you got to remember is, let's do it again. Right-click on a word, the second line. That's it. Make sure you have that selected and it says lemma, and then you're going to search in your Bible. Right there it is, Bible. These are all of the occurrences. Okay, you're searching the whole Bible, all Bible text, in all passages in your ESV. But you'll notice you're actually searching on a Hebrew word. That's the magic. Now you can change these parameters. If you don't want the whole Bible, you click on that and say, I just want the book of Exodus. Of course, there aren't any occurrences of Satan in the book of Exodus, so you get 0. You can do all passages. You can do sections of the Old Testament. Okay, let's just go up here to, let's see here. What's a nice section? Let's go to the law, Torah. Okay, Genesis through Deuteronomy. There's actually 2 occurrences of Satan in the Torah. They're both of the angel of the Lord. Okay, so it's a good guy. But again, just so that you see how you can vary the parameters of the search. The default is all passages. And again, you're searching in the ESV. If you wanted to change to one of the major translations, again, those that have interlinear information, you could do that. You could type in NIV, select NIV, And since it's reverse interlinearized, you're now searching the NIV Satan. Okay, same number of results because the Hebrew text is married to this translation just like it was married to the ESV, but you get to see how the NIV translates those things. And you can view them side by side, add versions, ESV. So we can now compare what the, got to click the arrow here, I forgot to do that. You can now compare the way the NIV and the ESV handles that Hebrew word. To get rid of it, click the X on one of those. Let's just get rid of the whole thing. So I'm going to repeat the process. Let's pick a different English word, blameless. Right click, pick the second line. It says lemma, I got the correct line. If I missed, it would say something else. I don't want the root, I want the lemma. Second line, right here, search Bible. There you go. Now, when you run the search, you can look at the results in different ways. Grid view creates, not surprisingly, a grid, okay? Versus view is the one that we started with. Aligned view just puts them all in a line if you want that. Analysis view is a little more complicated. I'm not even going to show you that. You don't need to know. It's just, all of these views are rearrangements of the same results. So that could really be the end of our tutorial. Okay, we just searched for blameless, particular Hebrew word. It's the word tam, 15 times in the entire Hebrew Bible, the entire Old Testament, and this is how the NIV handles it. Now, this is easy if you got a word that's 15 times or 30 times, and when you get one that's like 3,000 times, okay, that's then I have to wonder, why are you searching for that word anyway? You just want to give yourself a lot of work. But anyway, that's it. It's literally like 2 steps. Okay, let's go to blessed. Right click, second line. It's 3 steps. There's our third step, Bible. You're done. This is how you search for words. And you can do it in the New Testament. Let's go to John 1:1. Okay, you don't have to know Greek either. Shines, right click, second line, lemma, Bible. There it is. That particular Greek word, phino, to shine, occurs 31 times, and there you go. And you can adjust the parameters and whatever. So that's all there is to searching. It doesn't get more complicated than that, fortunately. Again, if you want to take this view right here and switch between translations, I don't know how many translations you're going to have in your package if you have the entry point package that we negotiated for you. But you would go up to this parallel resource sets and click on it, and it would give you a list. It knows that you have a Bible open, and when you click on parallel, you want to see other Bibles. And you can just toggle, back and forth. Now we're in the King James, okay? What's the New Living Translation look like? Okay, there you go. Now, you notice on this one, this one is reverse interlinearized, it is. So that's the one I missed, I guess, the NLT. If you right-click on an English Bible and you start seeing Greek or Hebrew here, you know it's been reverse interlinearized, and you can run these searches using English. Now, I don't know if you realize this. Let's go back to the ESV. But I just did all those searches without opening the interlinear pane. You don't need it open. If you don't know how to open it, don't worry about it. You don't need it. You just saw me run searches with only a right click in an English Bible. We didn't open up the line by line thing. We didn't open the pane down here at the bottom. You don't need it to run searches. Again, right click, second line, lemma, Bible. That's it. Now, let's say, well, I want to look at that stuff. Okay. If you want to look at the interlinear, you have 2 views. One is the inline view. And this is exactly what it sounds like. you're looking at the interlinear inline. Okay, the English is at the top because this is the ESV, which is an English translation. And then in the line, in between the lines of English, you have Greek stuff. Now, there are things you can turn off and turn on here. I don't read Greek. I don't know what that is. Well, if you go up here, you have the surface text, which is what you're going to see in the Greek New Testament. You have lemma. Again, you can click on more options and you get more lines. Again, you can do whatever you want here. With the surface text, it's going to be the English. So manuscript is what you get in the Greek New Testament. Transliterated, it'll put it into English. Alethenon, photidzai. Okay, so you could learn how to pronounce these things. I mean, you can play around with it, but let me repeat, you don't need it open to run a search. Now, the other view for the reverse interlinear information is not the inline, it is the reverse interlinear pane at the bottom. This is when you get that, that table thing, that pane. And so if you click on a word here, then it's going to light up as to what it is. And it has different lines. Again, the surface line is the English text. The MSS, that's manuscript line. This is what the Greek New Testament will actually have in it. Manuscript transliteration. It will take this and put it into English letters. And you get your lemma, which is your basic dictionary form of the word. And then it'll transliterate that so that you can pronounce it in the next line. Morphology. Okay, we talked about morphology before. This line here is for grammatical information. If you hover over it, this is a pronoun, a personal pronoun, third person, accusative, singular, masculine. Now, that doesn't do anything for you unless you've had a little Greek, okay, that you can understand this terminology. So if you haven't, this isn't something you need to bother with. Some of you use Strong's Concordance. Here's the Strong's line. If you click on this number, let's use the verb here, believed, pisteuo. If you click on the Strong's number, it will open a Strong's lexicon. Now, or something keyed to Strong's. Now, mine, I have this resource. I don't know if you do or not. DBL is like a free resource, so I'm imagining you do have that. But I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't have memorized what was in the package. This is all this line is. It's Strong's stuff. And then the last line is some other tool, some other report. But again, you don't need any of this at all. What you need to do is go to your library and type in the translation you want, ESV, okay? It'll pop up, open it up, there you go. And to search, right click, second line, that's the lemma, Bible. You're done, that's it. That's what you need to do for searching. Now, let's say, we'll throw in a little bit extra here. I'd like to know all the verses where two words occur in the same verse, like word and flesh. Okay, watch. Here's how you do that. So I've already run one of them. I've already run the search on flesh. Right click on word, second line, Bible. Okay, so I have two tabs here. They each have a search on each word, but I want them in the same search. So I'm going to copy this line, this computer geek stuff. I'm going to Control C. That's just copying text like you would in a word processor. I get rid of that. I'm going to go back here and I'm going to hit the space bar and put "and" in all caps, space again, paste it in there. And now I have all the verses that have both of those words in the same verse. It happens twice. I mean, you could do it for a third word. I mean, you could put "or," one word or the other word, one word and the other word. I mean, you can do things like this, but I don't want to get too far in the weeds here. For your purposes, all you need to know how to do word studies. I'll do it one more time. Right click, second line, click on that, So you have the lemma here, Bible. It is literally that simple. And then you just, you look through the results. In this case, there's 240 of them, so you got some work to do. Now here's the other way you can use the software, not just starting with the translation. Okay, blank top again, guides. Click on the guides, you have a selection of guides. Again, I don't know what your version is going to say, but everyone is going to have the passage guide. Click on passage guide. It says enter a passage in the box above, type the verse reference, and you either hit the arrow or you hit your return key. That's all you need to do. So we'll leave 1 Corinthians 14 in there. We'll click that. It could be 1 Corinthians 14:1. Okay, it could be a verse range, it could be a whole chapter. And so what it's doing now is it's going through your library, in this case it's my library, and it is extracting books from your library where 1 Corinthians 14 is discussed. That's what it's doing. Now, again, I've got an extensive library, so I have a selection of commentaries that I've included in this report. To tailor the report, you go up to Add. You can select or deselect all sorts of things for this report, the passage guide, to tell you. Again, that isn't the point. Look at what you had to do. Guides, passage guide, type. So I'll do Psalm 82. Hit the return key, it runs the report. That's all you need to do. It will do the work for you. So now I have commentaries. I can click more and get a whole page of them. Journals. I have some journal articles in the software. Parallel passages. Where does the New Testament quote Psalm 82? Well, that happens in John 10:34. I mean, again, I don't know how much of these resource reports that you have in the basic package. I don't know. I just want you to get two things out of this video. How to use a translation, how to find one. Go to the library, type in your translation, ESV, click on it, open it up. To search on a word, again, one more time. I know I said it was one more time, but I'm going to do it again. Right click, second line. Okay, so we've got the lemma, Bible. That you should know how to do. By now you're probably tired of the process because I went through it about 7 or 8 times here. But this is something you're going to do a lot. A lot of people like to do word studies. Now, again, I don't know because I don't have the package memorized, but you could say, well, I want to look up my word in a lexicon. Okay, I want to be able to look up words in lexicons. You'd have to know if you had a lexicon to do that. I don't know, but the Strong's number, the Strong's resource, you should have one of those. That's sort of a starting point lexicon. But to be blunt about it, you don't even need that, because what I'm trying to get people to do is to do their own work. Don't depend on a resource like Strong's that tells you, I don't want to be too harsh, but it doesn't tell you much. It'll tell you, oh, grace, charis here. Okay, that is translated 4 different ways in the King James or in the ESV, and here they are with verse references. Folks, you can do that yourself. You can discern that yourself just by reading through the results. Oh, here it's translated gift. Most of the time it's grace. Sometimes the translator, here's thankfulness. I wonder why the translator did that. Again, these reports are just telling you what a translation does. What you want is you want to know where the actual word, Greek or Hebrew or whatever, shows up in your Bible. And again, other translations are going to have different verbiage because it's a different translation. I want to get people to primary source material, which is the Greek or the Hebrew, and then you look those things up and think about them. You don't really need the Strong's resource. Now, there are lots of good resources beyond Strong's resources that do great things, commentaries and such. But at this point, again, what's important is you know how to find a Bible and do a word study. And then the second thing is to use the passage guide. So if you're able to do those things after this video, that's mission accomplished. It's a good starting point. And really, again, you can sort of go to town on that. You can spend a lot of time looking up words and looking at the results and doing your own thinking about what you're seeing, especially if you compare translations, because that's going to start the juices going off, in your head. Like, okay, why does this one translation? Why did they use this English word and the other translation doesn't? Uses a word that sounds kind of different, that has different nuances. It has different connotations to it. Why is that? Again, that's the point where you might want to get, a small lexicon, or you might just want to think. You might just want to think about it. I actually recommend for Hebrew and Greek word study, I recommend people using a thesaurus because that gives you lots of English alternatives. I mean, English has a huge vocabulary, and we have synonyms, and they all mean something just a little bit different. So you might actually come up with your own translation. Like, okay, in context, it might be these 3 or 4 different English words. I mean, they all seem appropriate, but let's think about what each one sort of denotes and connotes. Like the nuances here. Why is one a little bit better or not as good? That's study. That's thought. That's putting thought into what the text is trying to say. And so you can invest a lot of time in that, and you'll learn a lot by doing it. Trust me, you will learn a lot by doing it. But again, for the sake of this video, this is just find your translation. Again, the 6 or 7 main ones are all going to be reversed and they're linearized. Do a word study, look up a word, and then use the passage guide. So that's it for this video. Hope that wasn't too long. But again, I hope that you are able to do those 2 things.